Yo, what's up? Man, the journey is complete. For the past couple of weeks, I've been on a journey of now doing interviews, press junkets, and getting information back from people who've seen the film recently to know how the film is doing or how well it might do. First, it's more of a social media blast where I got people who've seen the film, left comments. I got a chance to take those comments and post them on Instagram and Facebook, YouTube, as well as Twitter or X, whatever you call it now. And they've been overwhelmingly positive. A couple of reviews came out, one from Did You See That? And also from The Big Rob Theory. And man, I was very pleased to hear what they thought about the film. A lot of people who are going to do a review are waiting until the 20th once it releases so they can put the link in the description, which is good for me. That way they talk fondly of the movie and tell people, look, click the link down below and go watch this movie now. That's a big help. But a couple of my good friends and YouTubers hit me up in the DMs or via text and was like, dude, you did it. This is the joint right here. I was very pleased to hear the reception this film is getting. And, you know, I took some liberties. It is a direct sequel to What Have I Done? And What Have I Done? It was tough because I had to create a world, create a universe, have to change the mythical mythology of a werewolf to fit my world. More modern, still with a touch of old school 1930s universal horror, you know. And once I got it done and created my world, I can build upon it. I use poetry. In the first movie, the werewolf, the main character, spent a lot of time isolated by himself. And he only interacted with people when he was a werewolf and obviously killing people. And the first movie is truly a horror film. There's lots of blood, lots of gut-wrenching, curdling screams in that movie. I remember doing post-edits, and I remember hearing the screams that I recorded made me uncomfortable. That movie, off-screen, when you hear people getting killed, it's off-putting. The screams and also the crunching of the bones, the flesh being bit. I put a lot of work in the sound design. But again, when you make a sequel, do you want to rehash what you did and do it more, or tell another story using elements from the first movie peppered in to make them connect? That's what I wanted to do, because I had no intentions on doing a sequel until I had a good story, or if I had a good story. People thought I should. I was like, I don't know. And one weekend, a thought came to me. I started writing some treatments, and boom. And right when I was writing treatments, a couple of YouTubers came into my life that I never met before. And I'm like, this is a good candidate. Because when you write a story, you kind of can picture what the person looked like in your head. And when you meet somebody and they fit the description, that's just God talking to you, right? So I did that. And in this film, it's more scientific. It makes you do your research on what a full moon is and what it does and when it appears. A lot of werewolf movies are not accurate when it comes to full moons. This movie is 100% accurate. And I took all the blood out. There's still blood in this movie, but it wasn't based upon blood and grossing you out. And there are no screams in this movie. There are no gut-wrenching, blood-curdling screams in this movie. Because I felt like in the first movie, the werewolf was raw. He was becoming and knowing who he was and finding out. So the werewolf was a little more vicious, more animalistic. In this film, he's used to being a werewolf. He's comfortable in his skin being a werewolf. So it's almost like getting attacked by a dog. You can get attacked by a wild dog, or you can get attacked by a police dog. Totally different scenario. A police dog is trained and they know what they want to do, and they're going to do it with confidence. A wild dog, you can probably shake him off and scare him. You never know. In this movie, you have a confident werewolf and a man who's comfortable in his skin. So when he attacks you, the look in his eyes causes his victims to be so scared scared. They're petrified that they can't scream. And that was my reasoning for taking the screams out of this movie. And I also wanted to show more attributes of the werewolf in this movie. He's more nimble and quick in this movie. There's a scene where you get to see how acrobatic this werewolf really is and how fast he is, that you can't escape him no matter what. And so I thought that was a nice trade-off from the first movie. And then when it came to post, music is so essential in this movie. I took the route of Native Americans' history dealing with wolves. They worship wolves. So I kind of got music from Native Americans peppered throughout this film to honor them and their belief of wolves being gods. And that was really fun to do. And music is very, very important to me. The music also tells the story. I brought back poetry, and of course it's in black and white. And there's a reason why the third color in the movie besides the black and white is blue. And you won't find that out until the end of the film. All the marketing and everything builds up to that moment. There is misdirection in this movie. It's a film that requires you to watch possibly 3 times, if not only twice. There's little twists and turns and misdirection. And when you see it, you're like, ah. And I've been asked, I was on a podcast yesterday, do I have to watch the first movie in order to enjoy this one? Not whatsoever. This is a standalone movie, and you can go into it blindly from not watching the first one and enjoy this film. But if you have seen the first film, as a director, I peppered in some things in this film that ties into the first one. If you haven't seen the first one, then you won't know what's going on. For instance, there's a reason why my parents moved to Texas. There's a reason why you see cattle all the time on the residence in Texas. The name Gloria was mentioned in this movie, which is a tie-in to the first movie. The father and son's relationship in this film harbors back to the first film. So those are things that are really crucial. Again, you could enjoy the film, but for those who've seen the first one, I intentionally wrote things in there to tie into the first one to give you little, Easter eggs or whatnot. And it gives it more purpose, and it gives it a more situation where the main character is now humanized. Like I said, in the first film, the main character is kind of isolated by himself, hence the dual personality, poetry and talking. When he's doing poetry, he's the werewolf. When he's in regular life, he's just talking in his normal voice. In this film, I wanted to humanize the character. And that was tricky. This character is an antagonist / protagonist all in one. How do you root for the killer? Usually in Friday the 13th, Freddy, the first couple of movies, they are the villain. Then they become the hero because you like Freddy Krueger cracking jokes, killing people. Saw, you like the guy making the traps because he has a moral dilemma that he has to fix by killing people. It's wicked, it's twisted. And that's what I did with this character. You might find him even more likable in this movie, which is a conflict of interest because he would kill anybody at any time during a full moon. And so with everything going on, I have been asked, you got to do a third one. I got people writing treatments and sharing them with me via DMs or text messages. I'm like, wow. But I might take a break after this film because this is 4 years in a row during Halloween season that I dropped a joint. It's taxing. Not that I don't have the energy, but it does take a lot out of you. And right now I don't have any ideas. I have a couple of ideas as far as documentaries I want to do. And I think I want to take a break and really shop this movie around. Last night I entered it in the Latino film market in New York. So I'm going the film festival route with this film. I think this film is definitely festival friendly and can gain some notoriety and get recognized that way. also want to take time to help other indie filmmakers with my experience. Just recently, Geek Ass Chat flew down to the West Coast. We met and hooked up in San Francisco a few days ago. And they're making a short film now called Public Housing Z. It's based upon the narrative of zombies being created through mold in the projects. And it's a really cool premise. And you know, first time director, first time producer, I can give them some insight what to do, how to save money, how to gain money, and how to, you know, use what money you get to put towards your equipment in the future. So you get, each film, your equipment should get better. And that's what I've done over the last 4 films. And it was cool to sit back on the West Coast, on a beach and talk movies and directing and producing with Geek Ass Chat. These ladies are awesome. Not to mention, also, they're in this film. My first few films, I got people that I knew to be in my films. And this one, I purposely did something different. Went out of my comfort zone. I approached a couple of YouTubers, some I just met for the first time recently, to be in my film. Lovely, from Lovely's Movie Reviews, is in this film. Melissa Maganzo, huge entertainment individual, just incredible. I mean, she's so incredible. She was hard to approach, but once you get to know her, she's fabulous. I got her to be in this movie, which is incredible. And I got Geek Ass Chat. I've been doing it for about 4 or 5 years through social media, and we've gotten close over the years. And I said, look, if I come to New York, I'm gonna film in New York, I want you guys to be in the film. So when you elevate the talent, also the film gets better. So this movie by far has the best cast, best film equipment, a really strong storyline, in which therefore the movie is scoring well with audiences that have seen it as far as early screeners. And it won't be far from now, at midnight Eastern Standard Time on the 20th, the film will release on YouTube. But if you're lucky, if you live on the West Coast, it's a 3-hour difference. You would see it at 9:00 p.m. on Thursday night on the 19th. So, you know, West Coast people, yeah, you ain't gotta stay up too late. East Coast, you know, you guys never sleep anyway, like New York. So, hey, you're kind of used to it. But I want to just say thank you for the early reviews, the early buzz, those who took participation and watching the film and taking the time to give you feedback, to get in front of your devices, actually talk about this film means the world to me. You have no idea. I live for this moment right here. I love being behind the camera. I love creating. But when the film is done, all the director has now is to wait and to see how his work is perceived and received. So, cheers. Look forward to doing this again. Stay blessed. And I can never thank you enough for all of those who participated. But I'll be back again sooner than you think. Peace. You know the routine. Fade to black.